My brother said, "Boring introverts don't deserve party houses," when I inherited our grandmother's estate. Then he tried to forge ownership documents while calling me mentally weak, so I had him arrested. Hi everyone! Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some perspective from people who aren't involved in this mess. My name is Michael, I'm 29, and I recently inherited my grandmother's estate, a beautiful Victorian house on 5 acres just outside Boston. My grandmother Eleanor passed away 6 months ago, and in her will, she specifically left the property to me. Not to be divided, not to be shared, to me, Michael James Harrison, her eldest grandson. The reason was simple. I spent every summer there from age 8 to 18, helping her maintain the gardens, learning her recipes, listening to her stories about my grandfather who passed before I was born. When she got sick with dementia 3 years ago, I was the one who visited every weekend, even after she stopped recognizing me. My younger brother Nathan? He visited maybe twice a year, usually when he needed money. Nathan is 25, and he's everything I'm not. Where I'm quiet and prefer small gatherings, he's the life of every party. Where I work as a software engineer, content with my steady job and modest apartment, he's a social media consultant, who somehow makes decent money despite seeming to party 5 nights a week. Our parents, Robert and Patricia, have always made it clear who the golden child is. "Why can't you be more like Nathan?" has been the soundtrack of my life since he learned to talk. The estate includes the main house, 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a massive kitchen, and a ballroom that my grandmother used to host charity events in back in the 1980s. There's also a guest cottage, a renovated barn, and those 5 acres of gardens that my grandmother lovingly maintained until she couldn't anymore. When the will was read, Nathan's face went through about 6 different emotions in 10 seconds. First confusion, then disbelief, then anger. But he quickly covered it with that charming smile of his and said, "Well, Grandma always did have a soft spot for Michael." That was 2 months ago. Since then, Nathan has launched what I can only describe as a campaign to convince everyone that the estate should be his. It started small. Comments at family dinners about how it was such a shame that the house would just sit there gathering dust with me owning it. How I never even throw dinner parties, while he could really bring the place back to life. Our parents nodded along enthusiastically. "Nathan has a point," my mother said last week. "That house was meant for entertaining. Your grandmother would be rolling in her grave knowing it's just sitting there empty." "I'm planning to move in next month," I told them. "I've already started the paperwork to transfer utilities and—" "But what will you do with all that space?" Nathan interrupted. "You don't even have a girlfriend. At least when I throw events, I'm honoring Grandma's legacy of bringing people together." The irony of Nathan talking about honoring our grandmother's legacy when he couldn't be bothered to visit her in the nursing home was not lost on me, but I kept my mouth shut. I always keep my mouth shut. Last weekend, things escalated. Nathan showed up at my apartment with what he called a business proposal. He sat on my couch, designer shoes propped on my coffee table, and laid out his vision. "Look, Michael, we both know you're not equipped to handle a property like that. I mean, let's be honest, you're an introvert. You hate having people over. You panic when more than 3 people are in a room with you. That's not. But me. I could turn that place into the premier event space in Massachusetts. Weddings, corporate retreats, influencer events. I've already got investors interested. We could make millions. Nathan, it's not about money. Grandma left it to me because you manipulated a sick old woman," he said, his charming mask slipping for just a moment. "We both know I was her favorite before she got sick. You just took advantage of her confusion to poison her against me." I was speechless. Nathan had visited our grandmother exactly 4 times during her 3-year illness. I had the visitor logs from the nursing home to prove it. "Get out," I told him. He stood up, straightening his jacket. "You're going to regret this, Michael. Mom and Dad agree with me. The whole family does. You're being selfish, keeping that house to yourself when you don't even know how to use it properly." "Using it properly doesn't mean turning it into a nightclub, Nathan." "No, you're right. Using it properly means not letting it rot while you hide inside playing video games and coding or whatever it is you do. Boring introverts don't deserve party houses." That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've been getting texts from various family members. My Aunt Linda says I should consider Nathan's feelings. My Uncle Christopher thinks I should at least give him the guest cottage. My cousin Jennifer suggested we could share the property, with Nathan handling the social aspects, while I maintain ownership on paper. The only person who hasn't contacted me is my cousin Sarah, who texted me just once, "Stand your ground." Grandma knew what she was doing. But here's what really gets me. Nathan posted on Instagram yesterday. He was standing in front of my inherited house with a group of his influencer friends. The caption read, "Scouting locations for something big. Sometimes you have to take what's rightfully yours. #FamilyLegacy #EntrepreneurLife #Making moves not excuses." The comments were full of his friends congratulating him on his new venue and asking about booking dates. I feel like I'm going crazy. This is my inheritance. My grandmother made her wishes clear. But somehow, Nathan has everyone convinced that I'm the villain here, selfishly hoarding a resource I don't deserve because I'm not social enough, not charismatic enough, not enough like him. My parents called last night for what they described as a family meeting to discuss the situation like adults. My father's exact words were, "You need to stop being so stubborn, Michael. Nathan has ideas, vision. You're wasting an opportunity out of pure spite." "It's not spite, Dad. It's my legal property." "Legal doesn't mean right," my mother chimed in. "Family is more important than paperwork. You're tearing this family apart with your selfishness." I hung up on them. First time in my life. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to just give in, let Nathan have the damn house so everyone will leave me alone. But another part of me, the part that remembers my grandmother teaching me to plant roses, the part that can still smell her lavender perfume in the master bedroom, knows that giving in would be betraying her trust. She left me that house for a reason. She saw me, the real me, not the failed version of Nathan that my parents see. And maybe that's why this hurts so much. Even in death, my grandmother is the only one who ever chose me first, and my family can't stand it. I'm moving forward with my plans to move in next month. I've already given notice at my apartment, started packing. But I'm dreading what's coming. Nathan doesn't handle rejection well, and my parents have never, not once in my entire life, taken my side over his. Am I wrong here? Should I consider some sort of compromise? Or am I right to stand my ground? Update 1, 2 weeks later. I wanted to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your support meant more than you know. Unfortunately, things have gotten significantly worse. I moved into the estate last weekend. Or tried to. When I arrived with the moving truck, the gate was open and there were at least 40 cars parked on the property. Music was blasting from the house, and people were everywhere. In the gardens, by the old fountain, some were even in the barn. Nathan was hosting a party. At my house. I found him holding court in the ballroom, telling a story to a group of people I didn't recognize. He saw me and raised his champagne glass. "Michael. Everyone, meet my brother, the official owner of this beautiful estate. Don't worry, he's cool with us being here." "Right, bro." I pulled him aside, my hands shaking with anger. "What the hell are you doing?" "Relax," he said, that infuriating smile never leaving his face. "I'm doing you a favor. These are all potential investors. Once they see what this place could be, they'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I'm not selling, Nathan. And you're trespassing. Everyone needs to leave. Now." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Come on, Michael. Don't be that guy. Look around. This is what the house is meant for. Grandma would love this. Grandma would have called the police by now. The grandmother I remember loved a good party. The grandmother you remember was 30 years younger and you were 5. You didn't know her at all." His mask slipped again, just for a second, and I saw pure hatred in his eyes. But then someone called his name, and he was back to being charming Nathan. I did call the police. They arrived an hour later and asked everyone to leave. Nathan made a big show of apologizing to his guests, saying his brother was going through something and wasn't usually like this. The looks I got ranged from pity to disgust. As he was leaving, Nathan whispered, "You just made a big mistake, Michael." The next morning, my parents were at the door at 7 a.m. They didn't even wait for me to invite them in before launching into their attack. "How dare you humiliate your brother like that?" My mother was practically shaking. "Calling the police? On your own family? He was trespassing, Mom. He broke into my house and—" "It's not your house," my father interrupted. "It's a family asset that happens to be in your name. Nathan was showing social leadership, trying to help you see the potential of the place, and you responded with, what? Cops? Lawyers? Social leadership? He was throwing a party without my permission." At least he was doing something with it, my mother shot back. You've been here one day and already you're turning it into your personal fortress. This isn't healthy, Michael. This obsession with keeping Nathan out. It's not an obsession. It's my legal right. There you go again with legal, my father said. Family isn't about legal, son. It's about sharing, supporting each other. Nathan has always included you in everything, and this is how you repay him. I wanted to laugh. Or cry. Maybe both. Nathan had never included me in anything unless he needed a designated driver or someone to blame when things went wrong. I need you both to leave, I said quietly. We're not going anywhere until you agree to be reasonable, my mother said, settling onto my grandmother's antique sofa like she owned it. Then I'll call the police on you too. The silence was deafening. My father's face turned purple. My mother's mouth opened and closed like a fish. You would call the police on your own parents, she finally whispered. You're trespassing and refusing to leave when asked. So yes. They left, but not before my father delivered his parting shot. You're sick, Michael. This jealousy of Nathan is poisoning you. We've watched it for years, but this is beyond anything we imagined. You need help. Since then, I've discovered that Nathan has been giving tours of the property to his friends, telling them about his plans for renovation. He's been posting on social media constantly, sharing old photos of the house and talking about preserving family legacy and honoring those we've lost through celebration of life. The comments are all supportive. Hundreds of people who don't know the real story, cheering him on as he plans what to do with MY property. Yesterday, I installed security cameras. This morning, I found Nathan on the footage from 3 a.m., trying keys in the front door. None worked. I changed the locks, but the fact that he tried is telling. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all wanting to know why I'm being so cruel to Nathan. Only Sarah has reached out in support, sending a simple text, document everything. So I am. Every text, every email, every social media post. Every instance of trespassing caught on camera. Because I have a feeling this is far from over. Nathan texted me an hour ago, "You can't keep me out forever, brother. That house belongs to the family, and I'm the only one who knows how to handle it. Stop being selfish with family resources." I didn't respond. But I did call a lawyer. Update 2, 3 weeks later. The lawyer I hired, David Brennan, has been a godsend. When I showed him everything I documented, his eyes got wider with each piece of evidence. Your brother is establishing a pattern of harassment, he said. And these social media posts could be construed as defamation. We need to send a cease and desist immediately. We did. Nathan was served the papers at our parents' house, where he's been living since his last roommate kicked him out, a detail I only learned recently from Sarah. According to the process server, Nathan laughed when he read them. His response came 2 days later, not through legal channels, but through our parents. They showed up at the estate again, this time with Nathan in tow. This has gone too far, my father said, waving the cease and desist papers. Threatening your own brother with legal action? What's next, Michael? Are you going to sue us too? Only if you continue to harass me. Nathan stepped forward, and for the first time, I saw him without his mask completely. You think you're smart, don't you? Hiding behind lawyers and paperwork. But you're just proving what everyone already knows. You're too mentally weak to handle this property. Mentally weak. Come on, Michael. Everyone knows about your anxiety, your therapy, the medication you take. You can barely handle normal social situations. How are you supposed to manage an estate this size? I felt like I'd been punched. Yes, I have anxiety. Yes, I see a therapist and take medication. I'd confided in Nathan about it years ago, during a rare moment when I thought we were actually connecting as brothers. Nathan, my mother said softly, but there was no real reproach in her voice. What? It's true, isn't it? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Michael isn't equipped for this responsibility. He's struggling mentally, and this whole situation is making it worse. We're trying to help him. By breaking into my house. By throwing parties here. By trying to steal my inheritance. It's not stealing if it should have been mine in the first place, Nathan snapped. Grandma wasn't in her right mind when she made that will. If anyone bothered to contest it. Nathan, enough, my father said, but again, there was no real force behind it. No, Dad, not enough. I'm done pretending this is okay. Michael manipulated a sick old woman into giving him everything because he knew it was the only way he'd ever have anything impressive. He's a nobody. A boring, anxiety-ridden nobody who's going to let that beautiful house rot because he's too scared to do anything with it. Get out, I said quietly. Make me, Nathan said. Oh wait, you can't. You'll just call the police again like a coward. Get out, I shouted, and for once, my parents looked genuinely startled. They left, but the damage was done. Nathan's comments about my mental health started spreading through the family. My Aunt Linda called to say she was concerned about me living alone in such a big house with my condition. My Uncle Christopher suggested maybe I should have someone stay with me to help manage things. But the worst was yet to come. Last week, I received a call from the county clerk's office. They wanted to verify some paperwork that had been submitted regarding the transfer of my property deed. I hadn't submitted any paperwork. I rushed to the office and discovered that someone had tried to file a quitclaim deed transferring ownership of the estate from me to Nathan. The signature was a decent forgery of mine, but the notary seal was obviously fake. The clerk, an older woman named Margaret, looked at me sympathetically. This happens more than you'd think with family properties. You'll want to file a police report immediately. I did. The detective assigned to the case, Detective Jennifer Walsh, took one look at the forged documents and said, "This is a felony. Attempted grand theft and forgery. If we can prove who did this." "I know who did it," I said. "Knowing and proving are different things. But the handwriting analysis should help. And the fact that the notary whose seal was copied has been dead for 3 years is pretty damning." When Nathan was arrested yesterday, it made the local news. Local influencer arrested for alleged property fraud. The article included his mugshot, and for once, he wasn't smiling. My parents called within an hour of his arrest. "How could you?" my mother screamed. "Your own brother. You're destroying this family. Nathan tried to steal my house, Mom. He was trying to save you from yourself," she cried. "You're sick, Michael. This paranoia, this jealousy, it's eating you alive. You've had it out for Nathan since you were children." "I've had it out for him. He literally tried to forge documents to steal my inheritance." "He was doing what he thought was best for the family," my father said. "That property should be bringing us together, not tearing us apart. But you're so consumed with jealousy that you can't see that. You've always resented Nathan for being everything you're not." "You mean like a criminal?" "Don't be dramatic. Nathan made a mistake, but it came from a place of love. He wanted to help you, to take the burden off your shoulders. By stealing from me. By managing what you clearly can't handle. Look at yourself, Michael. You're falling apart. The stress is obviously too much for you. Let us help you. Drop the charges, let Nathan out, and we can work through this as a family." "No." "Then you're no longer our son," my father said coldly. "If you go through with this, if you let Nathan go to prison over a piece of property, you're dead to us." They hung up. Sarah called an hour later. "I heard," she said simply. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Grandma would be too." "Would she?" "I'm sending her grandson to prison." "No, Nathan is sending himself to prison. You're just not stopping him. There's a difference." Final update, 2 months later. Nathan took a plea deal. His lawyer, apparently realizing the mountain of evidence against him, advised him to plead guilty to attempted fraud in exchange for 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and a restraining order keeping him at least 500 feet from me and the estate. The courtroom was packed with family members, most there to support Nathan. My parents sat in the front row, my mother crying softly, my father stone-faced. They hadn't spoken to me since Nathan's arrest. When the judge asked Nathan if he had anything to say, he stood up, looking every inch the reformed sinner. "Your Honor, I let ambition and jealousy cloud my judgment. I saw my brother struggling with the responsibility of managing our grandmother's estate, and instead of offering genuine help, I let my own desires take over. I accept full responsibility for my actions." The performance was flawless. Several family members nodded approvingly. Even the judge seemed moved. But then Nathan turned to look at me, and there was that flash of hatred again. "I hope one day Michael can forgive me," he said. "And I hope he gets the help he needs for his mental health issues. This whole situation has clearly taken a toll on him." Even in his moment of supposed contrition, he couldn't resist one last dig. After the sentencing, my parents confronted me outside the courthouse. "Happy now?" my mother asked, her voice hollow. "You've destroyed him. Destroyed us." "Nathan destroyed himself," I said, echoing Sarah's words. "You're sick," my father said. "This obsession with punishing Nathan, it's pathological. We've set up an appointment with Dr. Morrison. He specializes in sibling rivalry and jealousy disorders. I'm not going to therapy because I held Nathan accountable for trying to steal from me. You're going if you ever want to be part of this family again. Then I guess I'm not part of this family. The words hung in the air between us. My mother started crying harder. My father's jaw clenched. So be it, he said, taking my mother's arm. Come on, Patricia. We only have one son now. They walked away, and I waited to feel something. Sadness, regret, anger. But all I felt was relief. That was 6 weeks ago. Since then, I've been living peacefully at the estate. I've restored the gardens to how my grandmother kept them. I've turned one of the spare bedrooms into an office where I can work from home. The ballroom, Nathan's coveted party space, is now a library and reading room. I've also been seeing my therapist more regularly, not because my parents demanded it, but because processing a lifetime of gaslighting and favoritism takes work. Dr. Kim has helped me understand that what I experienced wasn't normal sibling rivalry. It was systematic emotional abuse enabled by my parents. You were cast as the scapegoat, she explained, while Nathan was the golden child. Nothing you did would ever be good enough, and nothing he did would ever be wrong enough. The fact that your grandmother saw through that dynamic and chose to protect you through her will is remarkable. Nathan has violated the restraining order 3 times. Each time, he's been arrested and released. His social media presents a story of redemption and growth, but the legal system tells a different story. His probation officer contacted me last week to say they're recommending jail time if he violates again. My parents have made good on their threat. I'm dead to them. They've told the entire extended family that I had a mental breakdown, became paranoid and delusional, and turned on Nathan out of pure jealousy. Most of the family believes them. But not everyone. Sarah visited last weekend, bringing her teenage daughter Emma. I want her to see this place, she said. And I want her to know the truth about what happened here. About how sometimes standing up for yourself means losing people who were never really on your side anyway. We walked through the gardens, and I told them stories about our grandmother. Real stories, not the sanitized versions Nathan posts on Instagram. About how she stood up to her own family when they tried to force her to sell this place after our grandfather died. About how she chose her own path, even when it meant being labeled difficult. She sounds like you, Emma said. Sarah smiled. She was. Or rather, Michael is like her. And that's why she knew he was the right person to trust with this place. Last night, I hosted my first dinner party at the estate. Nothing fancy, just Sarah and her family, a few friends from work, and my therapist support group for adult children of narcissistic parents. We ate in the dining room where my grandmother used to host her book club, and afterwards, we sat in the garden under the stars. One of the support group members, a woman named Jennifer who'd gone no contact with her family 5 years ago, raised her glass. To the family we choose, she said. And to the grandmothers who see us, I added. This morning, I found a note slipped under my gate. Nathan's handwriting, "This isn't over." I photographed it and sent it to the police, then to my lawyer. Another violation. Probably enough for jail time. But I'm not worried anymore. I have security cameras, a good lawyer, and most importantly, I have peace. The house is quiet, the gardens are thriving, and for the first time in my life, I'm not constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next attack, the next comparison, the next reminder that I'm not enough. I am enough. I was always enough. My grandmother knew it, and now, finally, so do I. The estate isn't just my inheritance, it's my sanctuary. And no amount of manipulation, forgery, or family pressure will take that away from me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to let toxic people have power over your life anymore. It's choosing yourself, even when everyone says you're wrong for doing so. Nathan was right about one thing. I'm not like him. Thank God for that.